Stabbed with a stick through the roof of his mouth, Andy Devine died an odd death. Beloved American character actor Andy Devine, whose unique raspy voice and cheerful attitude made him a recognizable presence in both cinema and television, was born Andrew Wibird Devine on October 7, 1905 in Flagstaff, Arizona Territory. Though his unusual voice became his signature, few were aware it was caused by a childhood mishap harming his vocal cords. Devine, however, made use of what could have been a handicap to shape a long and successful career in the entertainment business. Devine, who grew up in Kingman, Arizona, first went for sports and attended St. Mary's College of California, where he played football. He moved thereafter to the University of Southern California, where he started experimenting with acting and kept playing football. Beginning in the 1920s, during the silent film period, Andy Devine worked in Hollywood in little parts before successfully moving to talkies. Though he acted in a great range of movies across the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, his regular casting in westerns helped him to become a household name. Devine frequently played the humorous sidekick, providing levity to tough frontier stories with his good-hearted attitude and comic timing. Often sharing the screen with icons like Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, one of his most notable recurring parts was as Cookie, the endearing and clumsy cook and sidekick in many westerns. Though he started in the silent era, Andy Devine's career really took off with the arrival of talkies. His friendly demeanor and wheezy voice made him a natural for sidekick and humorous parts. Often playing the comedic relief to more serious leading males, he became particularly well known for his portrayal of funny and endearing Western sidekicks. His most famous film part was Buck, the stagecoach driver in John Ford's Stagecoach 1939, next to John Wayne. This performance confirmed Devine's status as a classic Western character actor and created a lifelong friendship with Wayne, with whom he would collaborate on many more films. Devine featured in more than 400 movies and television series over his rich career. His friendly attitude and steady performances made him a favorite among viewers in several westerns and family comedies. Among his other notable cinematic appearances were parts in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, How the West Was Won, and Canyon Passage. He moved to television in the 1950s and 1960s, becoming well known as the presenter of Andy's Gang, a children's television program running from 1955 to 1960. Using his faithful frog puppet, Froggy the Gremlin, Devine amused a generation of young audiences with pure fun, silly sketches, and his trademark phrase, "Plunk your magic twanger, Froggy." From 1951 to 1958, Devine starred in The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok, where he played Jingles P. Wund Jones. Another endearing sidekick, this time to Guy Madison's eponymous character, thus pioneering television. Among children and families of the 1950s, his performance on the program made him a household name. His friendliness and cheerful attitude won over crowds, and his fame influenced early American television. Apart from his extensive cinema career, Andy Devine also achieved great success in the expanding medium of television, which was starting to change entertainment in the 1950s. Among his most famous forays into television came from running Andy's Gang, a cherished children's show that ran on NBC from 1955 to 1960. Devine took over from the original host, renowned Smell and Ed McConnell, after McConnell's death in 1954 and inherited a program with an already built following. But his kind demeanor, high-pitched raspy voice, and natural comfort with young people, he not only maintained the popularity of the program but also increased its influence. For youngsters all throughout America who tuned in every Saturday morning, his signature welcome, "Hiya kids," became a familiar and soothing word. A mix of live action and filmed portions complemented the show's regular characters, including Froggy the Gremlin, Midnight the Cat, and Gunga Ram. Devine's presence brought warmth, wit, and a dash of whimsy, confirming the show's status as a mid-century children's television staple, a hint of humor, confirming the show's status as a fixture of mid-century children's television. Devine also appeared several times on The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford, another NBC show running from 1956 to 1961 during his time on Andy's Gang. Hosted by the friendly singer Tennessee Ernie Ford, this variety show included musical performances, comedic sketches, and guest stars. Devine's visits to the program underlined his adaptability as a musical entertainer and comedy actor. His cheerful attitude and improvisational skills made him a perfect guest for variety shows, which depended on charisma and spontaneity to captivate live audiences and home viewers alike. Apart from his hosting and guest star duties, dramatic performances in several television anthologies and series throughout the 1950s and 1960s highlighted Devine's ability. He notably guest featured in the celebrated anthology series The Twilight Zone in the episode Hocus Pocus and Frisbee, which first broadcast on April 13, 1962. Devine portrayed Somerset Frisbee in this classic episode, owner of a tiny town gas station famed for creating wild tall stories. Eventually, his over-the-top tales catch the eye of extraterrestrial entities that think he has exceptional expertise. Devine, who added a likable character to Frisbee that offset the science fiction concept of the episode with comedy and heart, was ideally suited for the part. Devine's charming and delightfully honest portrayal helped the episode to become a fan favorite ever then. Devine's part as Hap Gorman in Flipper, an NBC show focused on a youngster and his clever supportive dolphin, brought him back to the concept of tall tales in 1964. Devine, who featured in 5 episodes of the 1964 season, depicted Gorman as a grumpy narrative elderly fisherman whose imaginative tales were both amusement and knowledge. His role gave the performance more depth, discreetly weaved throughout his maritime stories. He offers humorous relief as well as moral teachings. The part let Devine to once again relate to a younger audience while playing a character who spoke to his signature folksy appeal. Devine has contributed his skills to anthology shows starring some of the most famous writers and actresses of the time. He showed up on the Barbara Stanwyck program in 1961, a short-lived but critically praised NBC anthology show hosted by the famous actress. Devine featured in the Big Jake episode as Jake Sloan, a tough but accessible character who, like many of Devine's parts, mixed humor, knowledge and a touch of mischief. His performance on a show renowned for its high-grade storytelling showed his ability as an actor able to transcend solely humorous parts. In a less well-known but just as enjoyable TV appearance, Devine featured Honest John Denton in the episode A Horse of a Different Cutter from the Rounders, a short-lived 1960s Western comedy series. Relying mostly on odd guest people, the program tracked the antics of 2 ranch-working cowboys. Devine played Honest John Denton, using his characteristic mix of slapstick comedy and soft heart for the part, showing once more that even a short visit might be made remarkable. A cameo on the 1960s Batman series, famed for its campy style and guest star villains, was one of Andy Devine's most surprising and funny television events. Devine showed as Santa Claus in the December 22, 1966 episode titled The Duo is Slumming, the whole outfit in cheerful festive attitude. Wishing them a Merry Christmas, he spoke straight to the watching crowd in a rare fourth wall-breaking event. Though short, the cameo is nevertheless one of the most endearing and sentimental holiday scenes in classic television history, a reminder of how well-liked Devine had become by viewers of all ages. Devine's abilities extended beyond live-action performances. He has greatly impacted the voice acting community, especially in animated movies and advertisements. One of his most famous parts was in Walt Disney's 1973 animated film Robin Hood, when he portrayed Friar Tuck, the cheerful clergyman who backs Robin Hood's fight against the avaricious Prince John. Devine's warm, raspy voice gave the role exactly the joviality and moral backbone it needed. His portrayal gave Friar Tuck life in a manner that endearing the character to viewers and infused heart into the ensemble cast of the movie. Devine was also the voice of Cornelius the Rooster in a well-liked series of Kellogg's Cornflakes television advertisements. Running in the 1950s and 1960s, these ads targeted young viewers by promoting the cereal brand using animated farm characters. The voice of Devine, immediately recognized and full of happiness, Devine helped make Cornelius the Rooster a distinctive mascot and further proved his attractiveness as a voice actor. Apart from voice work in television, Andy Devine had a short but significant stage career. His theater debut in 1957 was as Cap'n Andy in Guy Lombardo's Showboat at the Jones Beach Theater in Wanta, Long Island. A historic American musical, Showboat is famous for addressing significant social issues and demanding performers with both dramatic and musical versatility. Devine's portrayal of the warm-hearted and funny riverboat captain was well received, indicating that his abilities transferred well to live performance. Years later, in 1973, he returned to this part when actor and director George C. Bryan asked him to appear in Showboat, from the University of Louisiana in Monroe. Accepting the invitation, Devine played for college crowds, once again taking the stage with his clear appeal and decades of expertise. Andy Devine extended his already remarkable career far beyond the silver screen by means of television, stage and voice acting. Whether it was Saturday mornings entertaining kids or other media, his capacity to adjust to many platforms was remarkable. Captivating families in primetime dramas or portraying cherished animation characters showed the range of his talent and the depth of his attraction. His presence in American pop culture during the mid-20th century was both reassuring and legendary, and his contributions to entertainment still resonate with people to this day. Apart from his many achievements in the entertainment industry, Andy Devine was also a competent pilot and a passionate advocate of aviation during a vital time in American history. There was a pressing demand to educate thousands of new pilots as the United States increased its military readiness during World War II. Devine took a special and important approach to help the war effort. He founded Provo Devine, a flying school vital in getting young flyers ready for U.S. military duty. Under federal contract, the Provo, Utah-based school trained hundreds of aviators. Devine, an accomplished pilot himself, was fervently dedicated to guaranteeing the maximum degree of training and safety for his pupils. Aviation was for him more than a pastime. Reflecting his love for his country and his passion in scientific progress, it was a patriotic effort. Whether via entertainment, morale boosting, or hands-on projects like Devine's flight school, his wartime services show how Hollywood luminaries in their own way responded to the call to serve. Apart from flying, Devine loved radio as well, particularly amateur radio, sometimes called ham radio. With the call sign WB6RE, he became a licensed operator, joining a global network of radio lovers that utilize this medium to interact over vast distances and promote technical expertise. Ham radio drew curious and clever people, particularly in the mid-20th century. Devine's participation exposes another side of him, an inquisitive intellect and a need to interact. His passion for amateur radio has a lasting impact on his hometown of Kingman, Arizona. A local amateur radio club paid tribute to his legacy after he passed away by using his old call sign and currently runs under it. Drawing attendees from all throughout the area, this club hosts an annual memorial ceremony in Devine's name. These activities not only honor his accomplishments, but also help to expose younger generations to the great legacy of both Kingman's renowned native son and amateur radio. His immediately identifiable voice was one of the most unusual and distinctive features of Andy Devine's career. Its high-pitched, raspy, wheezy tone made it his trademark and one of the most copied voices in Hollywood. Though it was not intentional, this vocal difference, but rather by chance. Devine, a small child, underwent a horrible accident that would always change his tone. One well-known anecdote has him tripping and falling while sprinting with a stick or, depending on the version, a curtain rod in his mouth. Severe damage resulted from the stick shoved into the roof of his mouth. The accident left Devine mute for about a year. For a child known for his enthusiasm, the quiet was a great struggle. But over time, when he recovered and gradually started to talk again, his voice came back in a radically different shape. His vocal cords created a weird wheezy sound no longer characteristic of a child's voice. Sometimes it was said to be half whistle, part gravel, as if two persons were speaking simultaneously. The story's alternative version claims Devine hurt his throat as he slid down the railing of his father's hotel. The outcome was equal regardless of which version was correct. A unique vocal signature that would one day characterize his on-screen character and enable him to stand out in a crowded field. Instead of hiding or mourning this unusual trait, Devine embraced it, transforming what may have been a drawback into a strength distinguishing him from other actors of his time. Known for his raspy, squeaky voice and cheerful film presence, Andy Devine, the legendary American character actor, established a legacy of unforgettable performances in many comedies and westerns. Devine, who worked for almost 4 decades, became a mainstay of old Hollywood movies and television. Frequently cast as the likable sidekick or comic friend, he was particularly well known for his work with Roy Rogers, John Wayne, and in programs such The Adventures of Wild Bill Hickok, where he played the endearing character, Jingles. Though many thought his unusual voice was intentional, it really sprang from a childhood accident that would eventually shape his career-defining character. Though he delighted crowds greatly, the events surrounding Andy Devine's 1977 death were strangely sad and unexpected. Some would even call it really odd. Devine encountered a number of medical issues throughout the last chapter of his life. One of the more surprising and odd features, though, was a case of a home accident that finally led to his death. Several sources claim Devine sustained a strange injury when he fell at home. Reports say he fell in such a way during the fall that a sharp stick or something penetrated through the roof of his mouth. Though strange and horrible, the accident did not kill him right away, rather it set off a series of medical problems. The uncomfortable and hazardous sight of the wound-caused infection started fast, and his age and other pre-existing illnesses made it hard for his body to combat the consequences. Several studies indicate that he might have sepsis, a potentially fatal reaction to infection that could cause organ failure. Long has Devine battled the ongoing consequences of heart disease and diabetes. When paired with these persistent health issues, the oral injuries trauma overtook his body. Though he got medical treatment including efforts to control the injury and stabilize his general state, his health kept becoming worse. In the end, at the age of 71, Andy Devine died in Orange, California, February 18, 1977. Leukemia and consequences from the prior oral injuries were officially cited as his cause of death. Being stabbed through the roof of the mouth by a household item gave the event a peculiar, almost surreal quality that highlighted the last days of a guy remembered so lovingly for his wit, warmth, and the robust laughter he delivered to televisions all throughout America. Fans and co-workers alike grieved his death, and many found solace in the legacy he left behind. From his unique voice to his lively performances, Andy Devine stayed a unique character in the history of American entertainment even after death. But the odd and terrible twists life may take affect even individuals who provide happiness to millions, as his death's unusual and heartbreaking circumstances remind us.